Boxing Truth here, back with another video. Make sure to smash that like button, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Alright, let's talk about a light heavyweight unification. I know it's been maybe a couple of weeks since I made a video. Just I don't know, I haven't really been interested in talking boxing lately. But let's talk about a unification light heavyweight division, which should be a good fight on paper, should be a good fight on the ring. I'm also interested in this fight as well between Abraham Nova and Robson Ramirez. Nova is a almost 4-1 underdog against a guy who is undersized in the featherweight division. Sure, a two-time Olympic gold medalist. You look at his career now, Ramirez somehow, he beat Shakur Stevenson in the final. I watched the fight. He actually did beat Stevenson, but it just makes you wonder. He's so tiny, so little. He's got some skills, but this is the pro game, bruh. Let's see how you deal with a much bigger guy and your best opponent to date in Abraham Nova. Let's talk about the light heavyweight division. A much awaited unification fight between Joe Smith and Artur Beterbiev. Of course, the question surrounds regarding Beterbiev's age, but he's pretty much well preserved at 37. I mean, he hasn't had a lot of fights. He's been inactive. He he has less than 20 fights. He only has 17 fights under his belt. He has 100% knockout ratio, and you expect this fight not to go the distance. I would say this is the biggest puncher Joe Smith has ever fought in his career, the strongest guy he's ever fought. I wouldn't say he's always had the advantage of being the bigger guy, the stronger puncher in the ring. He hasn't really fought a big puncher in his career. Can't say Hopkins at 50 years old was a big puncher. You really can't say Eldor Alvarez is a big puncher. Not a bad puncher, but is he a devastating puncher like knockout machine like Beterbiev? No. Is he the bigger guy in this matchup? Well, by look at the win, he is not. Beterbiev is really a cruiserweight, squeezing down to 175 pounds because he can't hang with the big dogs at 200 pounds. That's why he drains himself like crazy to make 175. He has a major physical advantage at this weight. He's much stronger and bullies a lot of his opponents, but he just can't hang with the big dogs at 200 pounds, which is why he drains himself to 175. He's a weight bully at 175. It is what it is. If you can make the weight, you can make the weight. I don't criticize dudes that squeeze down to 175 and then balloon up 20 pounds. If you make the weight, you make the weight. But it could come back to haunt you later in your career as you balloon up. As you age and you get a little more battle tested. It could come back to haunt you, but he still has a lot left, even at 37 years of age. He's a 7-1 favorite according to the books. Smith, he hasn't looked good really in his last two fights. A lot of people can argue that he lost to Vlasov, looked pretty limited in that fight. He's been outboxed by lesser fighters, I believe, than Beterbiev. Got outboxed by Sullivan Barrera. Bivol, he got outboxed by Bivol, but he was able to rock him. Smith always has the power and physicality to make it interesting, but Beterbiev, I believe, is the more complete fighter of the two. I think he brings more to the table. He has an extensive amateur background that gives him an advantage. I think he's the better boxer. I think he has more tools. I think he has a better jab, and he's coming into this fight with a little more momentum. A very good knockout win over contender Marcus Brown his last fight. So there's a couple of ways you could play this fight. You could either take the over, which is a little risky, 8.5. These guys are big punchers, come forward type fighters, aggressive fighters. So the over is very risky, but Joe Smith seems like a durable guy, but this is the strongest guy he's ever been in the ring with, the biggest puncher. So do an alternative over if you can, 6.5, just to be safe. Also, 7-12 Beterbiev round prop bet is very intriguing at minus 105 odds. This fight most likely won't go the distance, and Beterbiev is most likely going to win. I believe Beterbiev wins. I believe he becomes unified champion. It's been a slow road. It still has been a quite somewhat a disappointing career. Still missing that career defining fight out there, that that A-level type win. This is a step in the right direction, become a unified champion, and hopefully, if Bivol continues to win and he's still undefeated and Beterbiev is still undefeated, just make that fight. It's not a big fight. Do a purse bid for the network to bid on it. Whoever pays the most money gets the fight. The promoters got to figure it out. I know Bob ain't interested in the fight because it's just really not big business. It's not the biggest fight out there. Most likely they're gonna go in the direction of an Anthony Yard mandatory defense in the UK, which will bring in some revenue. But eventually, you gotta do the Bivol fight. I mean, especially if he continues to win, coming off that Canelo win. If the rematch happens, it happens. But it'd be an intriguing fight, and it's a fight where I would say Bivol's a slight favorite because he's the younger, fresher guy, and the more elusive guy, the more fluid guy. And his boxing at his age and his age advantage and his jab makes him a very, very, very difficult fight for Beterbiev. But it's a very intriguing fight. It should happen. But let's see what happens in this fight. I expect Beterbiev to win, but Joe does have a puncher's chance. Beterbiev has been dropped before, but I don't think Smith is coming into this fight in great form. I think he's coming off 2 weak performances. But we'll see. Y'all let me know what y'all think, who you got. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.